Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
Panthers drop. Brady going deep. Evans again. He's got it. Number 3.
What a day for Mike Evans and Tom Brady as Evans goes for 207 yards and 10 catches, and the Bucs come away with a 30-24 win on the day that Bruce Arians is enshrined as a member of the Ring of Honor, and no risk it, no biscuit comes back to Raymond James Stadium at least for a day. Welcome into the JP Peterson Show, a special New Year's Day kind of Monday edition. Everybody's still on holiday, so we're doing a little home version today. We're going to get to all the great Bucs sound. We'll hear from Mike Evans. We'll hear from Todd Bowles. We'll hear from Tom Brady, maybe a couple other as we recap what was really a thrilling and eventful day at Raymond James Stadium. That stadium was rocking. It's as loud as I've heard it in quite some time, and that was a big reason I think the Buccaneers came back from 11 points down in the fourth quarter from a 14-0 deficit to clinch the NFC South for the second straight year, the first time they've ever done that in their illustrious franchise history. And so much of it was on the arm of Tom Brady and the hands and legs of Mike Evans. It was definitely a performance for the ages that will not soon be forgotten in Buccaneers history. And I'll say good morning to my good friend Nick Geddes, lifelong Buccaneer fan, sporting his Bucs hat today. Happy New Year to you, my friend. That was quite an event yesterday at Raymond James Stadium.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you and everyone else listening. But yeah, they don't make it easy. We never claim that they make it easy. I was actually watching this game at my grandparents' dinner table because we were having like our New Year's like lunch/dinner, and I was like, well, I got to watch the Bucs game. And after I had mentioned that there was like 2 minutes left, like 20 minutes later, the game's still going on. And they're like, is that still the Bucs? And I said, yeah, they're kind of doing everything they can to almost like blow this right now. I mean, that last 2 minutes was insane, even when you think they had it. But so they didn't make it easy, but at the end of the day, they get the win. And like you said, first time that this franchise has ever had back-to-back division titles, which is just a crazy statement to make for a franchise that's been around for nearly 50 years. But we'll take it. It's not exactly how they drew it up, but we'll take it.
Yeah, my post-game quest was to find out what the hell changed with Mike Evans and Tom Brady, and we'll play some of the sound. And I asked all the key participants in this, and the key was this: number one, the coverage from the Panthers. The Panthers decided to go single high safety and basically leave Mike one-on-one, which opened up those deep sideline routes. And Brady was perfect. He absolutely dropped 4 dimes on deep balls, and Evans lost one early on in the game. And so much of this game early on was just same old Bucs. Same old Bucs. They go down 14-0. They come out on offense, and it's mistake after mistake after mistake. Chris Godwin with a fumble after a nice catch and run. Donovan Smith with another holding call that negates a big play. Poor play calling again, time and time again. Going for a 53-yard field goal when Ryan Suckup doesn't have that range, turning it over to a short field to the Panthers, who went down and scored and made it 14-0. I mean, there was a lot of bad game management by Todd Bowles, a lot of mistakes once again, but again, the Bucs overcame it, and the defense came up with some big turnovers as well. Sean Murphy Bunting with a interception, and Anthony Nelson now with his third strip sack in the last 4 games. I mean, he's really, really come on and taken over for Shaq Barrett. And that last strip sack, obviously, at the end of the game was critical to give the Bucs a 2-score lead that they held on for by their nails. Man, that was the last. As you mentioned, the last 2 minutes was not. And how about Jake Camarda saving the Bucs bacon? Yeah, by scooping up that punt snap that hit the ground and sprinting to his left and somehow getting a kickoff that went down the field. Now, there was a penalty on the play, but if he doesn't do that and the Panthers recover, they've got they're right in position for a go-ahead touchdown to win the game. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if that's the way the Bucs season ended?
I thought the Bucs were cursed. I mean, you don't believe in the Bucs curse. I believe that at some points it shines through a little bit. And yesterday, I thought it was full on about to implode on this team, this curse. I really did at moments throughout that game. And even when you think they had it at the end, I see that punt, I see that snap roll back, and I hear Greg Olsen go, "Oh no." And I did one of these at the table. I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" And I'm just watching him run to the sideline, and I'm like, "How did he do that?"
Yeah.
How did he do that? I mean, we were talking off air. Like, this guy has done some pretty athletic things this season, like making tackles and just being present at all times. I mean, he does more, and he's been a great punter, but that right there saved the Bucs season.
It really did.
I don't know about you, but I know the defense had started to kind of come to life a little bit, but that's a tough spot to put him then in that moment. So I think he saved the season. No,
if he doesn't get that punt off, and how the hell does he keep it in bounds? I mean, it's one thing on running to your left and someone coming from the inside to be able to kick that ball and get it off, but to be able to kick it and keep it in bounds when you're running to your left, like how the hell do you do that?
And not alone the fact that he downed it at like the 2.
Yeah, and they get down to the 2-yard line. I mean, that's incredible. It's as athletic a play as I think I've ever seen a punter make. And as I mentioned, Camarda has been in on multiple tackles. This guy is a freaking athlete. I mean, he can play. Next time they run a fake punt, they ought to use him in some way instead of Giovanni Bernard. Yeah, probably.
I actually thought they were going to fake punt on that play for a second because I looked and I saw Giovanni Bernard was in the game.
Oh,
and
my
it
God.
looked a little interesting how the Bucs were kind of operating on this punt, and I was like, what if they do another fake punt here and try to redeem themselves? Because they're trying to prevent the block or something. So I was already fearing for it.
If that would have happened and it didn't work, I mean, Todd Bowles could just take off the headset and just
That's it.
Walk right out. Well, thank God they didn't do that. It was interesting. They went to the no-huddle offense with about 9 minutes left when they were down 11. They went to the no-huddle offense when they were down 11 points in the fourth quarter. I think with about 10 minutes to go. And what do you know? They go right down the field and score a touchdown. And once again, another deep ball to Mike Evans. And not only did Evans say that Tom was dropping dimes, but I thought, and to your point, what you've been talking about all year, he finally trusted his protection. There were many, many times yesterday where he, instead of throwing the ball away, he held the ball, looked around, and found some receivers time and time again. He got sacked, I think, 3 times in the game. But for the most part, he completed 30 balls. I didn't know this was a stat till after the game. 5 games with 30 completions, first time that's ever happened in the NFL. He's had 10 games total this year with at least 30 completions. Obviously, that's best in the NFL. So they pretty much eschewed the running game once again. But and this is like for the first time I can really remember. And I asked Bowles this. I was like, what was your strategy to keep Deontay Foreman and Chuba Hubbard under control? And he said, we were going to make Sam Darnold beat us. And he almost did. He threw for 327 yards and 3 touchdowns. He almost did. But what it did was it didn't allow the Panthers to limit the possession of the Buccaneers, right? If they controlled the game, controlled the clock, that was Bowles' biggest fear, that would limit the possessions that the Buccaneers would get to be able to score, especially when you're down 14-0. So that and kudos to him. Take away what they do best. Do not allow them to do it. Now I thought the Panthers kind of fell into the trap a little bit. Looking at what the Bucs were doing, putting 7-8 men in the box all the time. They said, okay, well, we're just going to throw the ball. Well, that's not your strength. And so they went away from their strength, and Hubbard and Foreman only had 16 carries for the entire day for 47 yards. I mean, you want to talk about abandoning the run. I mean, Steve Wilkes is going to look back on this game and say, damn, what was I thinking? And sometimes, teams they'll dare you to do what you don't do best. And if you do it, you may have some success, which of course Darnold did have success, but the Panthers weren't able to control the game and control the clock. Brady still got his opportunities, And if you give Brady enough opportunities, he's going to beat you. And the Panthers never made an adjustment to go to the 2 high safeties to take away that deep ball that most teams do to Evans. And, and listen, it sounds pretty simple. We want to X and O's the heck out of this, but the bottom line is Brady was dropping dimes. He was on target. I mean, and people, we've been riding Brady all year long because he hasn't played well. He played well. So we're going to give him the bouquets when he plays well. When he doesn't play well, we're going to call it out. And he was accurate. He was dropping dimes, and look what happened.
Yeah, this was actually, and I don't know if we've even realized it in the time, this was a near historic performance from Tom Brady today.
Yeah.
One of his best games as a Buccaneer, one of his best games of his entire career, actually. And this is courtesy of Greg Allman. I found this very interesting. That was his 81st game, Tom Brady, and it's the first time he's had all the following in one game: 400-plus yards, 75% completion percentage, and then 45-plus passes without an interception. There's only been 10 such games of that in NFL history. In NFL history, there's only been 10 such games of that proficiency. And Tom Brady did that yesterday. So I don't even know if we realized it in the moment, but Tom Brady was unreal yesterday. Unreal. And the touchdown that we played when we bumped in here to Mike Evans, the third one, you can't do it any better than that. You can't do it any better than that. I think that's one of the best throws he's ever had as a Buccaneer. I probably put it like in the top 5 or the top 3. I mean, as breadbasket as it gets to Mike Evans. I don't know what happened with that connection. I know everybody tried to get answers afterwards, and I think Brady, said, well, we had protection. I think Bowles said, right? We had protection, and that was key.
More time.
Yeah, which is true, but for whatever reason, I mean, he just aired it out. By the way, the arm looked okay. It's amazing how when this team is like struggling and like losing or like really having to dig out wins, we're like concerned about, if Brady's shoulder is bothering him, if the hand's bothering him. And then he puts a game on like that, and you're like, all right, he still has everything left in him.
Right.
He didn't look like a 45-year-old in decline to me.
Yeah.
Especially by that stat line in front of my eyes saw. So they continue to be a confusing team. But again, we've been saying, let's try to see something, some glimmers of hope going into the postseason that shows you can do it outside of that first quarter against Cincinnati.
Right.
And we finally saw that here against Carolina when they absolutely needed it, backs against the wall. They played their best football of the season.
And that's another thing that Evan said that we'll hear in a little bit here is that I think it was in response to my question too. He's just like, look, man, when our back's against the wall, we play our best football. We've seen that from the Lightning for the past 3 or 4 years, right? They sometimes play down to their competition, but when they need it the most, they bring their best.
Yeah.
And we've seen that in all these comeback wins for the Buccaneers. And you would think, hey guys, why don't you make it a little easier on yourselves and start out the game and play fast and play from ahead. It certainly would make a big difference, but
I think though, like in this game, they had moments like in that first half. Like, I mean, they went on a 15-play drive for 90 yards.
Yeah.
And then
they get out of it.
And then they go all the way. They get 0. It wasted 7 minutes off the clock. It was just a big nothing burger. But they got down there, and then like they immediately like went to like a run down there on like a first down, and like from the 10-yard line, they went on a run, which I think kind of got them out of their rhythm after they had kind of passed it all the way down there.
Yeah,
like Brady was kind of spreading it around to everybody. Like Godwin had plays on that drive. Gage did on that drive. Evans made a really good play over the middle of the field to haul one in. And then they kind of like, I feel like not the momentum, but whatever you want to use for it, just kind of stopped a little bit on that run. Yeah. And we've seen that with this offense. They get down there inside the 10-yard line and no shots to the end zone. Brady had all the time in the world to throw on the last one, and there was just nothing open. I mean, he had like 15 seconds back there, and there was nobody open.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but I thought that still was an encouragement to see them get that long drive sustained in the first half. So even when they didn't score anything, I thought for the most part they were moving it okay. I just thought the play sequencing was kind of letting them down. Like, because I thought Brady, if he had more opportunities here in that first half to just do what he was doing because he was being really efficient, I thought they probably would have scored more points, but I think the play sequencing was just a little odd for me.
Yeah, the red zone is still just a disaster for this team, and it's bizarre. As good as they have been in the red zone the first couple of years, but we've said this a lot. This is where game planning and great OCs really make their money on third down and on in the red zone. They find mismatches, they find things that the weaknesses in other defenses during the week in game planning. They come up with answers and they exploit them. And that's something that we just haven't seen from this Buccaneers team all year long. When's the last time? I would say the game-winning touchdown against the one to Rashad White. White was when Brady comes to the sideline, has to get him off the sideline to run that play. That was they hooked up one-on-one on the linebacker. I think it was against the Saints, and they exploited that matchup many times. That was what you want to see in the red zone, and we just haven't seen it enough this year. And they got down there again, and Brady had to check out of a play and went to a one-on-one with Kate Otten that wasn't great. And then on that 4th and 1, Bowles doesn't go for it from like the 5-yard line. Brady's like, "Oh my God, what are we doing?" And everybody in the stadium's like, "What are we doing?" I mean. And then he goes for a 53-yard field goal, which is clearly out of Suckup's range, giving them a short field. That was not smart. So there was still a lot of the same old stuff, Bucs beating Bucs for a portion of this game. But you kind of felt that they moved the ball enough during the game and had enough big plays that they could come back and win. And that's exactly what they did. But I think, if you want to say what was the difference? Better protection and maybe not even as much better protection as Brady trusting the protection and taking his time and allowing things to develop downfield. And what did they get? The most downfield plays they've had all year long.
Yep.
And Brady was willing to stand in there and take the hits and wait for something to develop. And I think that's something that he really hasn't done a whole lot of it. And maybe that's by design, right? Maybe he's just, look, I've got to be available each and every week. So if I get hit, everything goes to shit, and he's right.
I felt like he had, I don't know, maybe because the fact that it was a win and you're in type scenario, really a must win. I thought he had like an F-it mentality. Yeah, I really did. Yeah. Like, okay, well, we're just going to push this down the field. Like, We're better than this team. We know we're better than this team. When we're talented, let's just go out there and do that, especially in that fourth quarter. Let's just throw long. Let's just do it, right? I got something with Mike. Mike's getting single coverage over there. If they're going to do that, then let's just throw it to him. So I saw that. And then also, the quarterback sneak, which we've been dying to see all year long.
Yes.
And it seems like we're not doing it because either Brady doesn't want to, get hit right now, or they don't want him to get hit, whatever. He did it 3 times yesterday. Yeah. And he was 3 for 3 on it. And the big one to me was in the fourth quarter. I don't think it was a 4th down. It might have been a 3rd and 1. Yeah. And Greg Olsen made a point to point it out, that Brady had checked out of whatever Byron wanted to call and said, no, we're doing the quarterback sneak here. We're doing the quarterback sneak. Like, those are the things we've been kind of dying to see from the team and from Brady. And just, if you find something, just check out of it, make those reads like you've always done in your career and get this. So 3 for 3 on the quarterback sneak. I just saw that stuff and I'm like, it felt like an F-it mentality. Like, let's just do it. Stop overthinking this. I think that's what led to them also having a really strong fourth quarter.
Yeah, I would agree. It's a great point. And maybe Brady did do most of the calls in this game and finally said, I'm not going to defer to the OC anymore. I'm going to take this game over myself, and we're just, screw the run game. We're just going to throw the ball. Yeah. All right, let's move on to let's get to some of the sound. Mike Evans yesterday wearing his we're sitting there in the press room waiting for Evans, and here he walks in with this Michael Jordan 23 North Carolina jersey, the powder blue or Carolina blue, and it was and I'm like, oh, okay, GOAT receiver doing GOAT things with the jersey there. So Mike was feeling it from the time he walked in. It was a gift from Chris Godwin, by the way, for his Secret Santa. I don't remember ever getting a gift like this in a Secret Santa. I
was gonna say, I
got a Blockbuster $10 gift card. That's about it. And he's getting Michael Jordan.
I got these little. I actually did a Secret Santa this year, and I got these little I don't know what you call them. These little cups that you put like oil in to dip like bread into or whatever. Like something completely irrelevant to my life.
Definitely not a North Carolina Michael Jordan jersey.
No, not quite.
Yeah, me neither. I guess that's we got to get into Secret Santa rooms where people are making $20 million a year.
Yeah, I need to get in there with
maybe that's the key to getting a good Secret Santa gift. I think it might be. All right, here's Mike Evans after the game at the podium.
Mike, how does it feel to be a two-time NFC South champion and making the playoffs again?
It feels great. It's been an up and down year. Just kept fighting, and we played our best ball today. It was much needed.
Mike, what was the difference for you and Tom? It's been since week 4 since you got the result together. What happened today?
They were playing a lot of cover one, and Tom was just dropping dimes. Like those are some really, really good balls. Like one of the best I've seen Tom. This is one of the best games I've seen Tom play since he's been here. Like they were like falling right in the bread basket every time. So he had an unbelievable game.
Do you expect to have single coverage?
Yeah, we know. Well, the Panthers last time we played them, we know we left way too many players on the field. Obviously, I did, and I was excited to get another opportunity because they play a lot of quarters, man, and cover 3. So I knew we was gonna have opportunities in the pass game, and the O-line did a great job protecting. Everybody had their hand in the pile on offense, and it was our best game offensively, and we needed it.
You care more about wins and losses than you do about your personal stats, but you won 11 games without a touchdown. I know you couldn't have been happy about that. Just what was that like having to go through that and then all of a sudden to erupt the way you did today with 3 touchdowns?
I just always stay ready. That's why. It doesn't do good to dwell on the past and things that could have gone good or not. I just keep playing. I'm a professional. I keep playing. I work hard every week, and the ball found me today.
Mike, the way you were able to stretch the field really opened things up for Russell and Chris. Can you speak to the day they had?
We have some really, really talented receivers, especially like even not just our 3 deep, but even 4th, 5th receiver, 6th receiver. Like we have one of the most talented receiver rooms in the world. So, I mean, we're all making plays. It's hard to beat us. And they played us a lot of cover 1 tonight, and we made them play.
It's now 9 straight 1,000-yard seasons since you came out of college. What can you say about that?
I had 2 1,000-yard seasons in college as well. The only time I knew. But every year is different, and I just thank God that He's blessed me to be healthy and have great people around me to help me, accomplish this feat. Hopefully, I can keep extending it every year I play.
Mike, the Bucs have proven that physically they can do it as a team. I mean, you proved it today. Do you think a lot of the losses came from just a mental breakdown more so than a physical breakdown with the team?
I just think the NFL this year is a lot of good parity, and there's a lot of good teams, and everybody's like close to even. So I think that's what's been happening this year, and we had a lot of bad breaks, penalties, ball bouncing the wrong way. Like we'll make somebody fumble, the ball bounce out. We fumble, they get it. So just been things like that all year has been happening, but we just kept fighting. We have guys that are very experienced, and we got the job done today, and we're excited about it.
What do you think about the playoffs? Is it his protection? You said he was dropping dimes. He's missing throws, especially you recently. Is there anything different this week in practice or today?
It was nothing different. We all had the same approach. I just think with guys like Tom and myself and Chris Godwin and all the other guys that have been in the league for a while, we like moments like this when our back's against the wall. It forces us to play our best. And we played pretty good today.
The offense ran on all cylinders in the second half. I mean, you got 3 touchdowns, 3 long ones from Tom. You have full confidence that you guys can do this consistently in the playoffs?
Absolutely. I mean, we've proven it before. So
23 years ago today, Tom had overcame 2 14-point deficits in the Orange Bowl. Just what does it say about the fact that 23 years later he's still doing this, leading you guys back from 2 double-digit deficits?
He's the GOAT for a reason. And, we're blessed to have him on our side, and look forward to the rest of the season.
Mike, did you pick a good day to wear the Jordans?
Oh, yeah, this was an unbelievable gift from Chris Godwin. He had me in Secret Santa this year. Receivers, we do Secret Santa. And, he got me this unbelievable jersey. I love throwback jerseys, and I love especially NBA jerseys. And this is one of my favorite ones.
Speaking of Carolina, you've got 10 touchdowns now against the Panthers in your career. It's the Falcons is the most.
Yeah, those 2 teams play me a lot of 1 high. Like the Saints play me like a lot of two high, so it's a lot of help. But the Panthers and the Falcons, since I've been in the league, more man coverage.
So does your self-confidence increase catch by catch? Because you started, dropping some balls, and at the very end, the touchdowns, long distance. How do you feel about your self-confidence?
When the first pass I got deep really warmed me up because I should have caught that pass too. Tom threw a really good ball. I came back to it. I kind of pushed him off a little bit, and it hit me in the chest. So that warmed me up a little bit. I got to see the ball better, and then Tom kept dropping dimes.
There's Mike Evans after the game, and you talk about the single high safety. Why the Panthers did not adjust on that, I have no idea, but thank you very much. And listen, if you go back and look at all the different, all the times Tom has tried to hit Evans deep, and a lot of the deep balls that they have not connected on, you go back and you connect on those. This is a totally different season. And again, I'm not putting it all on Tom Brady. There have been times when Mike has not been in possession or in position to catch the ball. But the fact is, they just have not been able to connect. And that lack of that connection, to me, has been the symptom that has caused most of the sickness this year. And they fixed that. And look what happened. They scored 30 points and probably could have scored a few more as well.
Well, that's what I said this week, that over the last 9 years, no matter who the quarterback's been for Mike Evans, the coach, the OC, whatever, when the game plan has been to get Mike Evans the football and to get it deep to him like that and get it in the end zone, this Bucs offense routinely is scoring 25 to 35 points.
Yeah.
Routinely. He goes for, what did he have? 207 yards?
207 yards, 10 catches, I think, on 12 targets, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, super efficient. He had the one that he said there warmed him up, the first one, which he said he'd love to have back, and I think we all would agree there. But, just after that, it was almost a perfect game from Mike Evans and a perfect game from Brady. So if you have that connection and to see that, just that we saw it. And he just mentioned right there that Atlanta is the other team that plays him kind of like Carolina does throughout his career. Let's see if the starters play. I'm going to assume they are, because I don't think Brady's taken himself off the field. Maybe Mike will rest a little bit now that he's got the 1K, but hopefully we kind of see, I don't know about you, about the whole resting thing. I'd love to see them go out there and do it again.
Yeah.
Going into, I don't like resting. I know they're probably going to rest some guys here and there, but at least like the offensive side of the ball, I'd love to see it again. I'd love to see it again. Go out against an opponent that you can kind of impose your will against and kind of try to see if you can do it again.
See, the only problem with that is protection. I got to get Donovan Smith and Tristan Wirfs off their feet. I'm not.
And that's the problem, because if Brady's playing, then those guys got to play too. But
they have to play. They have to. Those two guys have to play if Brady's going to play. Now, I think you do. I think you maybe run a couple of series with your starters. I think so that keeps them ready in practice. Develop a game plan, practice for the week, go out there and let your starters play for two quarters or something, or not 2 quarters, 2 drives, maybe 3, whatever you feel like, just to keep them in rhythm. You don't want to lose the rhythm that you've created here. And I think, if you really plan on playing Ryan Jensen in the playoffs, he needs to get some time. He needs to get a few series. I would not want to bring him in just cold for the playoffs. I don't think that's a smart thing to do. And now after yesterday, kind of go, well, the protection was pretty damn good. Maybe, we just keep it as it is. But I think Jensen would certainly help you. So if you can get him back and get him playing, but I think I would play him, to see how good he is and how that knee's going to hold up. You don't want to go into a playoff game and just stick him in there, and then he goes down, and then they haven't been practicing all week, and that's not a good thing.
Here's why they still need Ryan Jensen, if they can get him back at any percentage, is they're still struggling to run the football. Like, they struggled a lot in this game to run the football, and then eventually they just kind of completely went away from it, which we've seen a lot of times this season, because they get down or they're just not having success with it. But it's, again, if they're going to keep calling halfback dive behind Hainsey up the middle like that, and keep getting a yard or getting bounced back, because this O-line, that's one of their deficiencies, is they're not good. They're not a good run blocking O-line, especially in the interior part of it. If you put Jensen over there, I think that's a big improvement over Robert Hainsey from a run blocking standpoint, because he can kind of maul some guys. And I think if that's what they're going to keep calling when it comes to runs, just these little runs up the middle, then it would be best suited, obviously, to have Ryan Jensen in there if he can do it.
Yeah, I would agree. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a little tricky next week. And when Brady was asked, and we'll hear from him in a second, when Brady was asked about playing, he was like, I haven't missed any games in my career except for, there was that 4, and I'm trying to be polite here as much as I can. There's 4 games that I missed. So he's very particular about getting out there and playing. So I think you play him a couple series to keep him hot, but for the most part, the guys like Winfield, who was toasted a little bit yesterday. I would say Wirfs, Donovan Smith, and a couple other guys that have leg injuries, lower leg injuries. I keep them off their feet.
And I'd even throw like a Nelson. I'd even throw a Nelson/Tryon in there, because these guys have had to play 100% of the snaps the past few weeks. Yeah. And after that, you are thin as could be. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe the defense is going to look entirely different, but I still think, like, given the opponent, they could probably maybe piece it together enough to.
Well, they don't have to win.
They don't have to win, but
it doesn't matter.
They don't have to win. And I know they've already established the fact that it doesn't matter what happens. We got in there, but I don't want to be 8-9. I want to be 9-8. That's just me. It's an aesthetic thing for me. I know it doesn't matter. I'm nitpicking, but I'd like to be 9-8, not 8-9.
Well, you know what? Hey, have the backups go out there and win a football game against a team that's checked out, So the Falcons will show up. The Falcons will show up, and they'll want to win the game against the GOAT. I just think that I would give them a little bit of playing time, but I would not play Wirfs at all. I would not play Donovan Smith at all. If those guys aren't going to play, then Brady can't play. It's just that simple. So my gut tells me, look, you earned a week off. As weird as that sounds, take it. Take it and use it to your advantage. Rest this time of year, and being healthy going into the playoffs is a huge, huge part of winning in the postseason. So, I mean, God forbid something happens to any of those guys in a meaningless game the week before the playoffs. I mean, then you're in really crap situation. So can't do that. All right, we're going to take our first break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll hear from victorious Tom Brady and Todd Bowles, who was in a great mood, obviously, when you cash your ticket to the playoffs. However you get there, it is what it is, and he's a division champion in his first year as head coach. So we'll talk with that. We'll hear from Todd Bowles. We're brought to you by Emerging Investigations and, of course, our good friends at the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. If your car has been totaled in an accident and you don't think you got what you deserved, you probably have a case. Make the free call to Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, make an appointment, and tell them JP sent you. Back in 3 with Tom Brady.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you.
Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or italianoinsurance.com. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida. JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations.
Oh, 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 Merry Christmas. Santa Claus here for the Golden Diamond Source. All right, it's JP. The holidays are the best time for engagements, right? And where better to get that special ring than the Golden Diamond Source? They have the largest selection of engagement rings in the country, a jewelry superstore with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. So avoid all the mall madness and the parking and all that BS and stay local, right? With the Golden Diamond Source, Julie and Steve Weintraub are the family jewelers, and they'll treat you like family. And, of course, they do so many great things in the community. I was just at their Hands Across the Bay, a charity event. So many people stepped up to give money for these women that have been victims of domestic abuse. It is something to behold when these women come forward and talk about what Julie and Steve have done for them. And the Golden Diamond Source funds Hands Across the Bay, and so many other great companies jump in. That's what it's all about, community, right? So let's keep it local for the holidays. If you want a perfect gift for the holidays, you should check out the unique and beautiful handcrafted jewelry from the Emilique and Julie collections that feature fashion-forward gold, diamond, and gemstone jewelry. And don't forget, for the holidays only, 3 to 5 year interest-free financing. It's a no-brainer for the holidays. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Almerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Let's go right now. Back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show on this Victory Monday, and a Happy New Year to all of you, as we're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group and Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. If you're looking to lose weight for the new year, how about you get a personally developed, medically backed diet program? Not some, don't go to some chiropractor, some weight loss clinic. Go to someone who knows how to get this done and will have sustained weight loss. We had Chris Lugo on last week with some great information for you. from an information standpoint. So just check them out, BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. If you're looking to lose weight, lean up, get your immune system in order, or testosterone replacement therapy, that's the place to go, BAMMC.com. All right, the Bucs win it 30-24 over Carolina, split with them this year, but become NFC South champs at 8-8 now. They'll have a chance to get over 500 like Nick wants so badly. If they can beat the Falcons next week, and they'll head into the playoffs likely against the Cowboys, but maybe it might be the Philadelphia Eagles who are leaking oil without Jalen Hurts and Lane Johnson. They were not good yesterday, so gives Dallas a chance to come back. And I believe if Dallas wins this week, they win the NFC East. I think if I'm not mistaken, I haven't seen all the different playoff scenarios just yet, but who cares whether it's the Eagles or, I mean, if Jalen Hurts continues to be hurt, I might want to see the Eagles come here.
I guess he's got some kind of joint sprain.
Yeah,
in his throwing shoulder, which is keeping him out. But I mean, yesterday they were playing a team that still was mathematically alive in the postseason in New Orleans. So I figured they were going to get their best, New Orleans, that is. So I don't know if I'm putting much into the Eagles stock right now. They built themselves such a cushion, but the fact that they had such a lead and they're kind of blowing it from getting that first seed standpoint is interesting. But I mean, I don't know. We'll play whoever, obviously, but I have been prepping myself for the Cowboys and having that meltdown happen at Raymond James Stadium. So I'm still hoping it's going to be Dallas at the end of the day.
Yeah, the playoff scenarios, we can run through them here real quick. Obviously, the Bucs have clinched. The Giants also punched their postseason ticket and spanking the Colts. The Eagles could have won the NFC East and the home field, but they lost to the Saints, as we mentioned. The Seahawks moved into the final wild card spot with a victory over the Jets, combined with the Commanders' loss to the Browns. By the way, did you see the Commanders' new mascot they unveiled?
It's par on the course. Par on the course. I think some people might have compared their owner to that animal before.
The pig? Was it a pig? I don't
no,
even know
it was
what
a
it
hog. This is a whole thing going on. I actually wrote a story on this. It's a hog, and it's supposed to be after the Hogs.
Yeah, the Hogs from back in the day when they were winning Super Bowls.
And the Hogs have actually filed a lawsuit against Daniel Snyder for trying to make money off their likeness, basically, and not give them any cut of the profits.
That's so perfect.
It's just a mess.
Getting sued by your own fans.
Yeah, and then you got Ron Rivera on top. Oh no, this is a bad franchise. And then you have Carson Wentz doing Carson Wentz things, and then you have Ron Rivera after the game not knowing that they could be eliminated from the postseason in a couple hours, which ended up happening because the Packers killed the Vikings.
Yeah.
And he had no idea. So he coached that game having no idea that their playoff lives were on the line, apparently.
How is that possible?
I don't know. And a lot of people are like, well, it's not a big deal. He's just worried about getting a win and all that. I'm like, I don't know. I think you coach a little differently whenever you know that you could be eliminated.
Of course you do. How do you? That's like the most basic thing for a head coach to know. What your playoff position is. Duh.
Yeah, a veteran head coach that's been to a Super Bowl doesn't know that. Clown show organization. Clown show.
Hey, but he's definitely cued in on what happened on January 6th. There's no question about that. But he doesn't know what his own playoff situation is. Good. In the AFC, the Buffalo Bills took another step towards home field advantage and a first-round bye with a win against the Bengals, who can clinch the AFC North Division with a win or tie against the Bills tonight. How about that game? Bengals and Bills tonight.
Most combined wins for two teams entering a Monday night matchup ever.
How about that? So
very
that's
exciting.
And the Bills will be playing for that coveted bye. The Dolphins, who've lost 5 in a row, fell out of the playoff field with the loss to the Patriots. This is from the ESPN playoff matchups story. The Patriots, who now have the final AFC wildcard spot, if they win next week. The Chargers moved into the top wildcard position, beating the Rams, and the Ravens lost to the Steelers. How about the Steelers staying alive last night? I didn't get to see the end of that game, but
oh my goodness, you have to go see Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett made some throws on that final. Kenny Pickett grew up last night.
Yeah. Since watching him play at Pitt, he's just kind of one of those. He's kind of like Max Duggan, who we can talk about a little bit later on in the show. We're going to talk a little bit about the semifinals. Oh my God, what 2 games? Hell, we'll talk about it now before we get to Brady. I mean, you want to talk about 2 great semifinal games? TCU's upset of Michigan. That was one of the best games. I was, working the Lightning game at the time, so I haven't really had a chance to sit down and watch the whole thing, which I'm going to do this week. But my goodness, what a game! What a game Duggan had. What a game TCU had. Some questionable calls by Harbaugh and Michigan. But I was shocked that they were able to do what they did against Michigan. That was incredible.
They took Michigan's game plan and they almost adopted it themselves.
Yeah.
They ran for I think almost like 250 something yards on the ground. TCU did against Michigan. I mean, that doesn't happen to Michigan. Michigan's got one of the best defenses in college football, and they give up 50 to TCU and allow them to run all over them. I mean, by Max Duggan's standards this season, it wasn't even that great of a game, at least statistically. But I mean, that third quarter, those 2 teams just kept going back, and third, fourth quarter, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It was like score. And to your point, we had to wait 9 years to get 2 good semifinal games. And you know what the common theme is there? There was no Alabama in the college football playoff because every time they're in, it's a boring college football playoff.
That's true.
There you go. There's the recipe.
And boy, that Ohio State Georgia game, unfreaking believable. And we're at a New Year's Eve party at Palma Sia, and I'm watching the game on one screen, and they got the ball drop on the other. And as Ohio State's lining up for the field goal, it's like 10, 9, 8. He literally, with 3 seconds to go, the ball is hiked and the ball is hooking to the left as the ball drops. I mean, like, what the hell is surreal kind of crap is this that's going on? And the emotional display by Stetson Bennett and the whole Georgia team, that was incredible. And Ohio State had that game wrapped up. What a comeback by Georgia.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people I know we kind of had this conversation about Ohio State under Ryan Day not winning big games, but I thought Ohio State did everything they could to win this football game. Yeah. I mean, if you're an Ohio State fan, I've already seen people calling about Ryan Day and this and that. That's ridiculous. I thought they did everything they could. Just sometimes you run into, and what I think is going to end up being a dynasty when it's all said and done, this Georgia Bulldogs team, this program
tip your cap to Georgia.
Just tip your cap to like what we're watching. Like everybody was bagging on Stetson Bennett in the first half of that game and saying, see, he's the weak link, just ignoring the fact that he had a Heisman type season, right? He has one bad half on the center stage and everybody's like, see, he's the problem. Right. So in the fourth quarter, he was like 10 of 12 for like 150 and a couple, whatever it was in the fourth quarter. Okay. He's a good quarterback. Okay. Yeah. And Georgia's not there without him. So, I mean, that team like I said, they're going to be a dynasty. Tip your cap.
Yep. And now here Georgia goes into this game as a 13.5 point favorite over TCU. And I'm like, how is that possible? How is that possible? I mean, like, do you not believe yet in TCU and Max Duggan?
I mean, how can you not believe at the moment? I mean, they clearly they can score on anybody. If they can put 51 on, and by the way, Georgia's defense, they've had, I told you, they've had this problem this year. They're giving up more points and more splash plays than we have seen. That's kind of the thing that I will say about Georgia that's I'm a little afraid of. They allowed like LSU with a backup quarterback to score like 30 something in the SEC title game. And now you allow Ohio State, which granted we offense, to score 41 on you. And now here comes TCU who just put 51 on Michigan. So we have a lot of time to break that game down, but I don't like that line. 13.5 toward Georgia.
God, no. I'm all over TCU. Are you kidding me? The way they can score. Georgia's defense is just they've played decent teams that have weapons and can throw the ball down the field and are balanced. They've not been great. They've not been great. So, you play an SEC schedule and everybody, of course says, well, but, at times there have not been the best offenses and best quarterbacks in the SEC. And Kirby certainly is a great coach. And if he knows you and your personnel, he's going to come up with something really, really good. But credit Georgia for being, the resilience to come back and win that game. And I think the championship game is going to be a good one. I do too. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I don't see that at all. Not the way Sonny Dykes coaches and his team plays. They're just not given enough credit. All right, let's get back to the Bucs and Tom Brady. And look, we said it earlier in the show, but I think it just bears repeating. The reason the Bucs were so much better on offense and scored 30 points for the first time since they scored 31, and most of that in trash time against the Chiefs is because Brady was on. Brady trusted his protection. Brady took over the game in the 2-minute situation, or I should say the no huddle situation. And it was his best performance that I've seen certainly all this year. And to me, it was more of him being assertive and throwing the ball downfield and throwing it well, throwing with accuracy on the deep ball, which is something we haven't seen. And I think I only think he practiced one day this week. Yeah. So I think it's definitely something that's been going on with his shoulder and arm from the very beginning of the season. Because you remember, you could go back to training camp, he was taking days off and limiting his throws. You could just see it. So whatever he did this week, do it again. Same formula for this week. Well, actually less. I mean, this might be a great week to just tell Brady to just shut it down. Do not throw at all. And that'll be, I'm telling you, that will be a tremendous advantage for him. If he doesn't throw a football all week long and doesn't pick it up until Wednesday of next week, I'm fine with that, because that will do wonders for his arm. Like a baseball pitcher, when you have inflammation in there and it's just you have tired arm, it's the only thing that you can do for that is rest. And I think that's going to really, really help him.
Well, I don't think Brady's going to do that. I don't think the competitor he is and what he likes to do from preparation standpoint, I don't think he's going to let himself do that.
Well, he knows better than anybody what to do. So.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But I mean, like, to your point though, just completely locked in, and like the deep balls are one thing, but there was like one early in the game where he split. I mean, the window was like, I don't know if you got a chance to see the TV copy of the game yet, or
not yet, no.
But there was like one play like Russell Gage, and it was like this tiny little window, and it's like stuff that nobody else sees but him.
Yeah.
And I see it and I'm like, man, this guy still has it. Like, they can do this. Like, that's what's frustrating. At the same time, it's like they can do this.
Yeah.
They can.
Absolutely. And especially when he's on target and trusting his protection. All right, here's Tom Brady post game.
Thing with Mike Evans, you took one across to yourself. How do you feel clinching the NFC South, all that in one day?
Yeah, it felt great. Really proud of our guys and everyone on the team, coaches. We battled through a lot of tough things this year, and happy to win the division. It's always tough to do it. NFL games are tough to win, and we always figure out a way to keep them somehow exciting. Wish they wouldn't be as exciting as we made them, but happy we got the win, and happy so many guys contributed. And Jake made a great play there at the end. And defense came up big for us. Mike came up big. Chris did. So, nice to qualify. Still got one tough game to go. We'll try to finish strong. And we know that we got a few extra, at least one extra bonus game. And we'll try to, prepare as hard as we can this week and see how things go.
Today, numbers from the Orange Bowl. 2 double-digit deficits, kind of like you did today. What's allowing you to keep doing it?
My teammates, my coaches, putting us in a great position to succeed. And even all the way back then, it was always about the team. That's the sport's the ultimate team sport. You rely so much on everybody to do their job at a high level. And I have so many great teammates and so many great coaches. I'm very blessed to, just enjoy it. That's what life's about, memories and relationships. And I feel like I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
Mike Evans had a great game today, as you had over 200 yards passing to Mike Evans, 3 touchdowns to Evans too. What was clicking for you today? And Mike, as you guys had a great performance in this one.
Yeah, Mike played awesome, like he always does. I love playing out there with him, and he's an amazing player. I've missed him too many times this year, so it was nice to connect with him, and hopefully we can keep that going. I think we will.
But Tom, what was the difference, do you think? Because you entered this game first in attempts over 20+ yards, but not obviously I'm sure having the completion percentage you want to. So what was the difference in you seeing that and being able to connect downfield?
I think statistically we have not done a lot of great things this year. So we haven't been very good on third down, the red area, long balls, short balls. So I think everything needs to be cleaned up. That's just the reality of where we're at. We can't, miss guys, whether they're 5 yards deep or 60 yards deep. I just got to keep putting the ball out there for those guys to go make plays for us.
You're locked into the number 4 spot. Can't move up, can't move down. If Coach Bowles says, Tom, take a breather, come play in Atlanta. Would that bother you? What's your inclination on that?
I mean, it's always tough to coach, but yeah, that would bother me. I missed the game other than my ACL. And and then 2016, I missed the first 4 games. So other than that, I played them all.
Tom, these last couple of weeks.
I was very polite there. Just that takes a lot for me to be polite.
Tom, these last couple of weeks, the defense has helped you guys out, getting some takeaways that are few and far between this year. What do you say about the play of the defense today, getting some of those takeaways, putting you guys in some better scoring positions?
Yeah, it's a complimentary game. I think turnovers, field position, third downs, scoring in the red area. I think one thing we didn't do a good job of scoring in the red area today. Had some opportunities down there. Special teams, we missed some opportunities scoring points there too. So, you can't miss those. And I think there's very, very little margin of error when you play good teams. And we play a lot of the good teams this year. So, as we go forward, we got to play our best.
When you get to the postseason, you're 0-0, right? So how important is it now that you guys have a game like this, you start playing better, and it really doesn't matter what happened record-wise as far as that?
Yeah, and I think we gotta keep going. And it's just, we're football season, we're football players. That's what we do. We play football.
Anything specific that happened this week with Mike in practice or today in their game playing that allowed you to get the deep balls to Mike?
No, he's been running by him. I just haven't hit him. So it's nice to hit him. All right.
How much was the factor with some of the protections on some of the long passes to Mike Olsen?
Awesome. I thought they protected great. We got a few sacks today, but it's a good pass rush. Brian Burns, incredible player. Derek Brown's a great player. But our guys held up great in there, and we kept slugging it out. So thank you guys. Happy New Year.
It's Thomas Edward Patrick Brady right there.
Junior.
What's that?
You slide the junior at the end there.
Junior, sorry, my bad. He was good, man. And when he's good, the Bucs are hard to beat. And you're starting to see this defense actually get some turnovers as well, which is huge. We haven't talked a lot about Anthony Nelson. This guy's had 3 strip sacks in the last 4 games. He's getting the job done when they need it the most. And that was a huge strip sack because, Darnold was pretty damn good yesterday. The one fumble wasn't on him. He got an early snap. The touchdown to Shy was a great throw over the middle.
The one DJ Moore on the left too.
Yeah, that beat Antoine Winfield. Antoine was in great position, and he just drops that one in perfectly to I think it was Moore. He was really, really good. He was really, really good. But I thought the Panthers kind of shot themselves in the foot by getting away from the run game.
In a couple other things, they were called for, I think, 2 delay games in the second half.
Yeah.
And Darnold, yes, as your job as a quarterback is to understand where the clock is, and this is where I think Steve Wilkes, this is where I kind of grade him a little harshly, his end game management. Somebody on that sideline has got to, call timeout, do something. They let it happen twice, and those were big plays that killed them. They had some holding penalties and some false starts also. So the Panthers beat themselves too in this game.
Yeah, they did.
They definitely did. And I thought for once this season, even though we had some issues, I thought Todd Bowles actually won the coaching battle in this one.
I would agree with that. But his plan to let Darnold beat him and not let the run game beat him, you take away your opponent's best weapon and then go from there. So, yeah, absolutely. Allowing Brady to throw as many times as he did and not really getting hung up on the run game. And isn't it ironic that was the game that Arians goes into the Ring of Honor And, he's Mr. Why are we messing around with the run game? Let's just throw the damn ball if they're going to let us throw the ball.
And it was funny, too. At one point, I was listening to the radio broadcast, and they had Bruce on with Gene Deckerhoff. And Gene asked him, he's like, when you were here, we were scoring all these points. What's going on, Coach? Why aren't we scoring any points? And Bruce was like, like he wasn't worried. He was like, nah, we'll he's like, check back in the fourth quarter. We'll score a lot of points. And we're going to win this football game. Like he just knows that's how it's going to go. Like we all do. So I thought that was kind of funny when I heard that.
Yeah, and we got a chance to talk to him at halftime. The media was allowed to go down there and chat with Bruce, and I was like, "Can I ask him what he would have done on that 4th and 1? Is that a good question?"
He did kind of say, like Gene actually, he was mentioning that he was like, "It's a shame we only could get 3 there on that 4th and 1."
Yeah,
said on the thing. So I think that was his polite way of saying he definitely would have gone for it.
Hell yeah, he would have gone for it, no question about it. Yeah, and Bruce, he talked about loyalty and accountability, and I asked him, I said, what are the 3-4 biggest things you did to change the culture? And I'm trying to think of the 3 things he listed: loyalty. I'm forgetting the 3 key buzzwords right now, but he really talked about how all the guys bought in from the very beginning, 2019, and then when Tom came, it just ramped up the culture even more. But I think everybody wants to know how this whole thing went down and where it went wrong. Because as we sit here, the Bucs are in the playoffs. Everybody's happy. Everybody's giddy. But if they get, boot stomped in the first round, we're going to look back on the season as a bit of a disaster. So I think now it's kind of in their hands. They've got to go out and be competitive. Look, if they don't win the playoff game, so be it, right? Especially if it's a good Cowboys or Eagles team that's coming in here, so be it. But be competitive. And then, I think it's still very much out there for Todd Bowles. I think the consensus right now is that Bowles returns with his coaching staff. But as I told Lee DeCamper from Joe Bucs Fan, Steve Wilkes didn't get a chance to pick his coaching staff either. And he damn near put the Panthers, in complete tank mode by the ownership into the playoffs. So, and I would venture to say, Todd Bowles, if he does make some changes, that it'll all be on the offensive side. And, is he going to fire Clyde Christensen? Really? Is he going to fire Tom Moore? Is he going to fire most of the guys on that offensive staff? No. Does Byron Leftwich get let go? Yeah, I think he does. And I think that's more of the owner's call. So this whole idea that Byron didn't get, or Todd didn't get to pick his staff, I don't, most of my issues with Todd have been, getting this team motivated and his game management, which it was an issue with the Jets.
Which doesn't have much to do with the staff.
What's that?
Which doesn't have anything to do with the staff.
Exactly. So, as much as I love Todd, and we're going to hear from him right now, I still don't think he's an effective head coach. I think he's a tremendous defense coordinator, but I don't think he's an effective head coach.
Yeah, the facts are the facts, though. Like, even though it's an 8-8 team right now, it's a division winner, something that is very rare for this franchise. So that checks a box. Beat your rival in the Saints twice in the same season, something that hadn't been done since the John Gruden days.
Right.
That certainly goes in his favor. So I think it's obvious. Todd Bowles is going to get another year, and regardless of how we feel about it, he's going to get another year. He's definitely done enough to get there. Regardless of what happens in the postseason. That's just me speaking for what I think the team's going to do, not my necessary opinion. But I think that's what's going to happen. And at some point, I tell you what, I have this just sneaking suspicion that this old guard might be onto something here in the postseason with Brady and Rodgers. I'm just watching the way the Packers are playing.
Yeah.
Similar art to the Bucs right now. I have a feeling, just watch out for those 2 old guys in this postseason around all these young, flashy quarterbacks. Let's see where those 2 guys end up when it's all said and done.
Well, you look at who's winning Super Bowls. They're still experienced quarterbacks that are doing it, right? Brady, Matthew Stafford. It's as much as we love these young dynamic quarterbacks, the teams that are getting it done are with the old guys for the most part. All right, let's check in with Todd Bowles here post game. Even chatting about how he was going to celebrate with Chips Ahoy and 1% milk. Definitely is not win or lose, we booze. No, win or lose, Todd's doing.
Well, this was the press conference of the year, though, for Todd Bowles. So
yeah,
let's be honest. So this was a good one. Let me get it up. Let me share it here on my screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was in great form yesterday. Happy for him. Really happy for
Experience with that high-flying aerial attack today.
No risk it, no biscuit. We make it interesting. But obviously, that's a big thing. We want him to go in on a winning note. That's huge since the legacy he left behind on his team.
Why was the default back with Mike Evans today? Why was the default back with Mike Evans today? Was Tom just willing to sit and hold it?
Well, he had time to throw it a little more. He had some time to throw it. Mike had some time to get down the field, and they connected.
You know, Hubbard and Foreman, I think 47 yards, 16 carries. What adjustments did you make this time?
Well, we wanted to make them beat us through the air. We didn't think they could beat us through the air, so we tried to take those two guys away on the ground because we wanted to win time of possession last time. The last 3 games, 3 out of 4 they won, they held the ball over 35 minutes. So when they keep our offense off the field and keep the defense off the field, that doesn't bode well. So the offense did a good job of moving the football, and the defense kept them off the field from the run game.
Not ideal to start the game down 14-0. What did your defense do? What kind of adjustments did you guys make that allowed you guys to clamp down and really get the lights out of that?
Well, they just locked in. They just locked in. The first 2 plays early should have never happened, and they didn't get down. They didn't get disgusted. We've been through a lot this year, so we have a lot of resiliency and strength. So we don't get down when we get down score-wise. They buckled down. They stayed together as a team, and they came through.
Have you ever seen a punter make an athletic play like that?
I have never seen a punter make an athletic play like that. No, I really haven't. I haven't. He did a heck of a job doing that.
Can you talk about the Anthony Nelson strip sack and how important that was for you to pile on your age?
That's 2 weeks in a row for him getting a strip sack. He's coming on as a pass rusher. He's been a heck of a player for us. He's coming into his own, and the add on the extra touchdown was huge at the end, as you know.
So how does it feel? You're clinched. You're in the playoffs. How does it feel, John?
Every year you try to win a division, and we won a division. Doesn't matter how you win the division. My heart ain't got much left in it, but I feel great. We're at one spot we need to be. We can't get to where we want to be unless we win the division. We won the division.
How difficult is it for a player to remain as productive as Anthony has, going from playing in limited snaps as a backup to every snap recently?
For him, it's not hard because he had to play a lot last year. He played a lot last year. He's a confident guy, very quiet. He looks innocent, but underneath it all, he's a heck of a football player. He's a gangly looking guy, and he's got a little swag to him that you don't know about. So we have a lot of confidence in him.
Would you be inclined to give a couple of guys a breather on Sunday, including number 12?
We'll see how the injury situation looks, and we'll get together as a staff and talk this week. We've talked about a few things, but we'll talk about it more and see where we are as far as people per position. Correct.
If nothing else, your team has been resilient. Not able to sack wins, but stayed in it. And even in games, we've seen you come back like you did today. How would that bode well for you in the postseason? Do you guys think you're as dangerous as anybody?
Yeah, it's a new slate. Playoffs start a clean slate for everybody. You got a 3-game elimination tournament, and doesn't matter where you are, to have those games, to play tough like we did, at least we know we'll be in the games, and we just have to cut down on mistakes in order to win them.
Todd, is there any explanation to why Tom and Mike finally got it together today? This is week 4, I think, since Mike scored. Anything happened this week you could tell us, or why today?
No, everything clicked this week. It wasn't just them two as a team all the way around. Everything looked like it clicked in practice this week. We had 3 good days of practice. Again, he had more time to throw the ball downfield. People weren't at his feet. He got it down there, and Mike does what he always does when he gets single coverage.
Coverage-wise, how much did it help Mike? Like you said, single coverage. And you have Russell Gage out there, and you've made plays the last few weeks, and you have Julio Jones out there too.
It helped out a great deal. Sometimes the ball is supposed to go that way, but the line did a heck of a job giving Tom time to look back the other way and make the throw.
Coach, how different is your defense when you're able to have both Akeem and Vida out there?
Well, it's good up in the middle. It makes it a lot tougher because those guys are huge in their own right, and they play with a chip on their shoulder, so it gives everybody else confidence.
how you look at the takeaways. They haven't been as plentiful as you would like these last 2 weeks. You've got them in bunches. You talk about Sean Murphy bunting the reception down there near the goal line. How big of a play that was?
They make a heck of a play. You know, the turnovers come in bunches. That's been a telltale all season. When we don't get them, we don't win. When we get them, we win. So it helps out a great deal to get the turnovers. Sean's been playing good for 3 weeks now. He got his hands on balls. We got fumbles. So it's kind of coming together.
Coach, any specifics that you look to focus on in practice this week as you face Atlanta?
Really just getting fundamentally sound, making sure the guys that are healthy are being taken care of, and we're getting ready for Atlanta, but at the same time, taking a look at who's going to win the NFC East. So we're going to try to get better ourselves, and if we stop beating ourselves, we think we can go a long way.
Points have been so hard to come by offensively this season for you guys. To be able to put up as many as you did today, what can that do for you momentum-wise as you prepare for the postseason?
It was great because you got a strong defense over there. You know, Carolina's tough. Steve did a heck of a job, but to get 30 points shows us what we could be and what we're trending towards. So just winning the last game and getting in like this in the playoff atmosphere, it helps us going forward.
You always said that you're different than Bruce, and we probably know how Bruce would probably celebrate tonight. How are you going to celebrate?
I got 1% milk and I got a bag of Chip Ahoy cookies. That's my go-to.
Maybe some music. Maybe some music.
A little bit of music, but my Chip Ahoys and my 1% milk, faithful.
There's Todd Bowles.
The blue bag, Nabisco. You can't dip the chunky style. You gotta have the blue bag. The chunky style. No, the chunky style is too thick. It's the chocolate bag. You gotta dip the blue bag. The red kind is the chewy kind. I majored in that in college. Thank you.
He majored in that in college. Well, he's definitely got it down. I'll do some Chips Ahoy and dunk him but I mean, why the 1%? You just won the NFC South, baby. Go full milk. You know,
that sounds like a bad night in the bathroom. 1% milk and Chips Ahoy. That's a celebration.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. That's quintessential Todd Bowles right there. I tell you, it's fun sometimes to see like Coach and some of the other players walking out. I got to post this picture today. Ryan Suckup walking out with his 3 boys, and they're all wearing Suckup jerseys. He looks like a duck and his little ducklings, you know, walking out. It was freaking hilarious. He's got 2 little boys or 3 little boys that all were wearing Suckup jerseys. So yeah, great to see Todd and all the guys. You know, listen, we beat on the Bucs a lot this year, and I think, you know, deservingly so. But you know, I'm happy for Tom. I'm happy for Todd Bowles to get this championship, to get into the playoffs. I'm happy for a lot of these guys have been fighting their ass off all year long. You know, and I talked to Russell Gage after the game about, you know, is this a game that can kind of get the juice going a little bit? Because he was the one who said, yeah, even when we were making plays earlier in the year, it still wasn't fun. But, you know, the locker room was joyous. It just was a different vibe. No question about it. 100% different vibe when you win a game like that. So maybe this gets the guys going. Again, this is still the same football team that struggled. They did a lot of stupid things that they've been doing all year, but they're resilient. And, you know, it's just like what Mike told me. When their backs are against the wall, they play their best football, and that's undeniable. I mean, what they've been able to do to pull games out late in games, and listen, it's what the playoffs are all about. It's what the NFL is all about. How do you play in the moments, in those moments, those poised moments when young quarterbacks fold, older quarterbacks, you know, and who better than Tom Brady? 14 straight years in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think I said this, though, this week is go do it against one of the best teams, though, because it's one thing to do it against Carolina. It's one thing to do it against the Rams and the Saints and all these teams. I'm not trying to take anything away from it, but it's another to do it against a Dallas, to do it against a Philadelphia, to do it against a San Francisco, all these other teams that are really good and you're going to see in the playoffs potentially. That's where the test is going to be. It's still going to be that for this team. But resilience still is a key. You don't win championships or division titles for that matter without being a resilient football team.
Right.
You don't. So for all the faults they've been able to overcome some of those in these games. And in this game in particular, it just felt like Tom Brady, we've talked a lot about him overcoming things. He can't do that anymore. He needs help. but he can be Tom Brady, like the old Tom Brady, a throwback version that can overcome everything. Maybe not as much as we saw before, but in some moments he can. And yesterday, I thought that was huge too. He overcame all the chaos around him.
All right, we'll take a one final break here, and we'll come back and wrap it up for our special New Year's Day after New Year's Day edition of the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by BAMMC.com and the Jeeves Law Group. Stay with us. Quick break.
Oh, Merry Christmas. Santa Claus here for the Gold and Diamond Source. All right, it's JP. The holidays are the best time for engagements, right? And where better to get that special ring than the Gold and Diamond Source? They have the largest selection of engagement rings in the country, a jewelry superstore with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. So avoid all the mall madness and the parking and all that BS and stay local, right? With the Gold and Diamond Source, Julie and Steve Weintraub are the family jewelers, and they'll treat you like family. And of course, they do so many great things in the community. I was just at their Hands Across the Bay, a charity event. So many people stepped up to give money for these women that have been victims of domestic abuse. It is something to behold when these women come forward and talk about what Julie and Steve have done for them. And the Golden Diamond Source funds Hands Across the Bay, and so many other great companies jump in. That's what it's all about, community, right? So let's keep it local for the holidays. If you want a perfect gift for the holidays, you should check out the unique and beautiful handcrafted jewelry from the Emilique and Julieve collections that feature fashion-forward gold, diamond, and gemstone jewelry. And don't forget, for the holidays only, 3 to 5 year interest-free financing. It's a no-brainer for the holidays. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Almerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Are you concerned your spouse might be cheating, or want to locate a long-lost relative or love? Or a missing person and the police are not helping? An insurance adjuster who needs proof of injury. Hi, I'm Rachel D'Antonio from Tampa Bay's premier private investigation agency, Emerging Investigation. We have a proven track record of results. Local attorneys and insurance companies hire us to discover insurance fraud and crucial information in criminal cases. We can help in custody matters, and we devote a tremendous state-of-the-art technology and cutting-edge industry surveillance techniques to get you trusted results. Larger corporate agencies can be more expensive and do not offer the personal level of customer service and interaction that we pride ourselves on. We are a family-owned business. Our professional experience team includes my son, lead investigator Zach D'Antonio, a former collegiate athlete, and my daughter Emily, who leads our in-house investigations team. Don't take matters into your own hands by trying to install snooping programs on phones or GPS trackers. That can cause unneeded stress and give you inaccurate results. Go with the professionals at Emerging Investigations. We have proven results and tremendous testimonials from our satisfied customers. Call for a free consultation and we can discuss how we can help. Peace of mind is as valuable as bad news. Just go to our website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's emerginginv.com. We're Emerging Investigations. We get results in life's biggest matters.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We hope you guys had a tremendous New Year's. I spent New Year's Eve at the Lightning. Just had a great time. Saw so many friends there. It was like having a big New Year's Eve party and a hockey game going on at the same time. And we had a blast. I was wearing my tuxedo to host Hockey Night Live, and the house was packed with. We had a lot of WWE wrestlers that had hung out from Friday night that were there.
Yeah. Forgot about that because they were SmackDown.
Yeah, SmackDown on Saturday night. Took in the Gridiron Gala with the ReliaQuest Bowl. Of course, the ReliaQuest Bowl coming up today, which I'm going to head on over to. Have some fun watching that game today. Mississippi State and Illinois. Got some more bowl games coming up today. And, of course, we'll look ahead to Atlanta next week, and we'll see what Todd Bowles has to say about how he's going to play this one. I know Brady wants to play, but I don't know, man. If you got to get Wirfs and Donovan Smith and Vita Vea off their feet, I just punt, man. I'm going to let, as much as Brady wants to play, this is where somebody has to be an adult in the room and say, sorry, Tom, you got to sit. You got to sit, rest the arm. We'll come back next week. I can't put you out there without Tristan Wirfs, and I'm not putting Tristan Wirfs out there on that carpet with a high ankle sprain. No, absolutely 1,000% not. Donovan's had a bad foot. No, absolutely not. Vita Vea, Absolutely not. So we'll see how they play it, but I don't think Brady should play.
Well, I think he's going to play.
Yeah.
Better give at least a half. I think at
No
the
way,
most,
a half?
no, at the most a half. My bad.
Oh.
At the most, he'll play a half. At least get a quarter in. At least get a quarter in. It might be one of those like third preseason game type deals.
Hey, you're Mr. Bucks are cursed. Why take the chance? Why take the chance? No.
Yeah.
No.
I guess.
Yeah.
I'll be honest here, okay? You only get to enjoy so many of these games, and I just want to see as many games with Tom Brady playing as possible, okay? So it has nothing to do with strategy. It's for my own selfishness. I just want to keep seeing him play and pewter and red and pewter.
Well,
that's it.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, they have to do strategy and do it right. And
I don't deal with strategy. I deal with emotion. That's why I want to have Longoria, and he's not a Tampa Bay Ray today.
No, that's right.
It pissed me off.
Yeah. The Diamondbacks? What did he sign for?
$4 million.
$4 million.
I mean, assuming there was mutual interest, we couldn't just do 4.5 just to like make the fan base happy.
Oh,
Come
are you
on.
kidding me? That's the last thing he's gonna do. No, absolutely not. Sorry, Rays fans.
That hurt my soul on Friday night.
Look at all the hitters you've been talking about all off season long. You're gonna get this guy. You're gonna get that guy. You're gonna get this guy. You know what you got? You got Bupkis. You got nothing. You got
You're the
zilch.
same team. It's gonna be the same team
that scored 400 runs. Oh my God. Well, hey, maybe they won't be as injured. Maybe they'll have better seasons. Yeah, maybe.
A lot of maybes.
All right. Well, y'all enjoy your New Year's Day bowl games today. The Rely Quest Bowl, some good bowl games, and we will be back with a live show tomorrow on Tuesday.